r/ask Reddit. What double standard disgusts you? The employee should give 2 weeks notice. Anything else is unprofessional, but the employer will actively obscure their intentions until the very last minute. I trained my replacement once, who had been introduced to me as my assistant, so obviously I wanted to teach them the job properly. I came into work after my weekend and was called over by my boss and told that my assistant had transitioned into my position and thank you for helping them ease into the role. Edit. I did not realize so many people went through the same thing. Holy crap. Holy shit, that's evil. Right now in Canada, we're in strict lockdown, but a dozen of our politicians have been found vacationing around the globe. In other words, we can't bury grandma at a funeral, but these politicians can go work their tan. Thankfully, many of them have resigned in the last 2 weeks. In America, the politicians can barely get the words out of their mouth by the time they're breaking the rules. None of them ever resign either. Hell, in California, a city councilwoman literally voted to ban indoor dining and then immediately went out to eat following the vote. Here in Denver, the mayor made a statement about staying home for Thanksgiving from the Duckine airport. If you always arrive to work late, you're in big trouble. If work never finishes on time, shrug, no big deal. I offered to work extra hours in a salaried position to get the company over a hurdle if they'd do the honorable thing and comp me hour for hour for my trouble. Outright refused, because you're salaried, even though my giving up a few weekends would make a huge difference for their bottom line. So when they tried the extra hours mandatory free overtime thing later, I told them to piss up a rope. Nice, duck 'em. Business should do whatever it takes to get ahead, but if the employee tries to make their life better or find a new job, they are lazy and ungrateful. Recently on here there was a thread about employers hiding the pay for a posted position. Most people hated it as it was a waste of time to get to the point where they are willing to tell you the pay and it's an insulting amount. A few people were defending it. One guy said that it only makes sense for the employer to hide this from you and try to manipulate you about pay. From the employer's point of view, they need to pay you as little as possible, and if they post a salary, then people who want more than that will not apply. So no chance to underpay someone who is worth more, and they will have to deal with people who aren't good enough for that meager salary. So according to this guy, really, it's for the best that they try to screw you with hidden a salary for job postings. He's saying this as if we're supposed to just agree with it and not stand up for ourselves and just bend over and take it. But us demanding to know the salary during the first contact about a job? Unacceptable. How dare we try to interfere with the company trying to screw us? What makes that even worse is it isn't even good for the company. It isn't like people do the interview on their free time. Everyone involved is wasting time. That costs money. Further, training people up and having them leave is a huge money sink for companies. I worked at a place that would intentionally hire people out of college and lowball them because the new hires didn't know any better. And then they would act shocked when those people would leave after 6 months of training to take a job making twice as much with the skills. I remember listening to a manager say that we were just losing money training these guys, and how they were so ungrateful. One of our senior guys was like, "Wait, you're paying them what? Well then I'm your problem. I'm the one telling them what they should be making in this industry. Can't really be mad at the kids for finding out you used their ignorance against them." The awkward enraged silence that followed was priceless. Edit. Wow, I did not expect that to resonate with folks as much as it did. Thanks for the award and upvotes. If you owe a company money, you will be charged interest late fee service interruption almost immediately after the due date. If a company owes you money, you might see it in 4-6 weeks/2-3 billing cycles. Just to add to this, you miss your bill to your internet cable provider by a day and you pay fees out your ass. Your service goes down for a week. Oh well, you get jack shit. To avoid legal issues, in my country, I add a very small detail in the fine print that says subject to 80% reliability with guaranteed minimum connection speed of 512 kilobits per second. When I leave a job, I'm generally expected to give 2 weeks notice so the company isn't left without essential things being done. When a company decides to let me go though, no warning to start putting in applications or saving more money, you're just gone. Total horse shit. A woman with her kids is taking care, a man with his kids is babysitting. I went to the bank with my kids once and I got hit with being Mr. Mom. I am their primary caregiver. I get hit with that crap when I take my kids to the physician. I didn't bring a pacifier when my infant got a shot. He didn't need one anyway. And the nurse says don't worry, I won't tell your wife. I snapped back and said I'm the one who made the damn appointment. My dad got this bullshit a lot too. He was a single father. I wish I could spend one day talking to my mother the way she talks to me, sniping at her over every mistake, shouting her name from across the house and expecting her to drop everything and come talk to me, dismissing anything she says that I don't agree with by just saying no with no actual argument and expecting her to drop it. Edit. There are a lot of people replying to this by saying, nobody else supports the way she acts. So this isn't a double standard. This is just abuse. There are also a lot of people replying by saying, you must be a teenager and therefore automatically whining about nothing. There's nothing wrong with your mom's behavior. And quite a few more saying, I'm an independent adult and my parents act the same way. Think about that. I posted this here because I don't consider it abuse, or particularly unusual. It's more like the parental equivalent of a microaggression. If that makes sense, we usually get along well, and the stuff I described is never enough for me to get upset over. But it's just sort of a subtle reminder that my mom, like a lot of parents of adult children, still sees me as slightly less than her, and never even thinks about the things she does that would piss her off if I did them. And for what it's worth, I'm 34, have a job, pay rent, and buy what I need myself. I'm only living with my parents now, at their encouragement, because I lost my previous job in March, wasn't sure at the time how long it would take to find a new one, and haven't wanted to go house hunting during a pandemic, although for that matter, I never said I lived with them in the first place. And I would be surprised if mom suddenly changed how she acts around me when I visit her after moving out. Me. Logical argument with facts, mom. Well, no, because I said so. Me. Mom, can I please have some choco milk? Mom, I don't want to fight with you. Rich people can abuse the system and no one bats an eyelid. Large companies with taxes, etc. But when poor people do the same, they are met with absolute hellfire from those above them. Edit. Spelling. When the penalty for breaking a law is a fine, that law is meant for poor people. Set limit find sure. This is why we should have it based on percentage of wealth. Politicians not following their own covered guidelines. It has become rules for thee, but not for me. Always has been. Abusive behavior is funny when coming from a woman. I pointed out to my husband that in movies and TV shows, women get upset by a man's actions and slap him and no one bats an eye. I'm an older woman who grew up with a violent mother and I know firsthand the scars that remain from those acts of abuse. Over the years I've heard too many horror stories from male friends and in forums where they describe horrific physical, verbal, and emotional abuse from their female partners. Showing a woman hitting a man normalizes this cruelty and it needs to stop. Spot on. As a man who had previously been pushed around and punched in one instance, let alone the constant psychological and emotional abuse throughout the entire relationship, before leaving an ex many years ago, it was treated as a complete joke by both the police and most friends people I knew. The policeman laughed at me and said, mate, that doesn't sound right. Women don't do that sort of thing, and most other people I know just had a laugh about it, not taking it seriously whatsoever. I wasn't in any real danger as I'm a strong person who is physically capable of defending themselves, but that is irrelevant. Would it have been the same story if I had been cracked in the jaw and pushed around by a bloke? If I was a woman, you be the judge. I know many men that are victims of female abuse and don't say anything. BC society doesn't permit it. It's a human issue that transcends gender, race, religion, culture, etc. It's not okay. Why do men get pockets big enough to hold all their shit and women get fake pockets sewn shut or a ducking micro pocket? Is it too much to ask that I don't have to carry around a satchel like a peasant? Edit. Well, duck. Went to bed and woke up famous. I might actually need a bag for all these replies. Edit 2. To all the people telling me to just buy cargo pants. I'm European. We don't do that here. Edit 3. I can't reply to any new messages because Reddit won't load the comments for some reason, but yes, I was joking about the cargo pants lol, but not really because the side pockets make my thighs look bigger than they already are. Women equals never happy. My wife has me carry her stuff. I'm like a walking handbag. Ah yes, the man bag. I'm single so don't have that glorious upgrade available sadly. Banks businesses can immediately withdraw money from your bank account and apply all their disgusting fees. But for banks businesses to give you money, you have to wait 7-10 business days for the funds to appear. Pedophile teachers. When it's a man, you tend to see male teacher raped student, and when they're women it's normally female teacher had sex with student. I despise the downplaying of it when the teacher is a woman. And seeing comments like that kid should be lucky. His teacher is hot disgusts me. Edit. Sorry if thanking for the award sounds dumb repetitive, but thank you everyone for the awards. Not every day I get on Reddit after a few hours to see my point thingies double. It's not just the headlines, either. Female offenders typically receive much lighter sentencing in the court system as well. The male-female discrepancy in the justice system is a huge one. The fact that black people get longer sentences for the exact same crime is, rightly, used to show how much bias there is against black people, but use the exact same evidence to show the much greater discrepancy against men, and people hand wave it away. If a woman sleeps with hundreds of men, she's a slut, but if I do it, I'm gay. Edit. Ducking hell guys. Cool it with the awards. Thanks. And although IKR nobody calls you a chef if you cook a meal but suck a dong and suddenly you're gay. Like I always say, you can say you're not gay, but that doesn't mean you don't like sucking dong. You can't say you don't like something till you've tried it. If I wake up at 4 PM and go to bed at 9 AM, I'm lazy, do nothing all day, etc. Wake up at 4 AM, bed at 9. You're seen as a responsible member of society. Doesn't matter if you work the exact same number of hours, make the same money, do the exact amount of housework, etc. Holy cheeseballs, this blew up. I can't reply to everyone, so I'll just add this. If you are just scrolling through the comments of the original post, please keep in mind that not everybody works a typical 8 o'clock AM to 5 o'clock PM job. Someone has to work the 24-hour jobs. Walmart, Waffle House, the gas station, the hospitals, emergency services, etc. If your house catches fire at 2 o'clock in the morning, you are not going to wait until 8 o'clock AM, when typical jobs start to call somebody for help. Not everybody has the same circadian rhythm. I am one of those people. I have something that is called delayed sleep phase syndrome or delayed sleep phase disorder. Depending on the severity, I simply don't feel tired when I quote unquote typical person would. I am not sleepy until after sunrise. No, I cannot just change my sleep schedule. Yes, I've tried whatever it is you're thinking about typing and suggesting, probably several times. It doesn't work. Thank you for trying. I am content being me as I am. Finally, thank you so much for the awards. Smiling face with hearts. I thought it was a lot when I checked my messages and had 94 on the envelope. I 100% agree with this. My family always makes snide remarks about me sleeping late, but praise themselves for going to bed early. Like, okay, but I got a ton of shit done while you were asleep. Nobody ever says get a load of lazy bones here. Off to bed in the middle of the afternoon. Your example is making it sound even better than it really is. In my experience, I have relatives that go to bed at 9 PM and wake up at 8 or 9. So, 11-12 hours in bed every day, and then when I go to bed at 4 AM and get up at 10:30 they complain about me sleeping all day. Edit. In their defense, they're not necessarily sleeping, they're reading, watching TV, etc. But still, that's a lot of time in bed. Men versus women, guys as untrustworthy, skeevy characters around children. There was a guy who posted a while ago who portrayed my point exactly, about his experience being a teacher in infant school or something. Can't remember exactly, but the kids were pretty young. He loved being a teacher to help them, give them a good future, and watching them learn and develop into smart kids. However, there were a couple of occasions he got pulled aside by the head teacher for being inappropriate. One of them being taking a young girl to the classroom nurse's office and giving her some antiseptic cream and plaster for her scrapes since she fell over in the playground, purely because he was a guy he was told parents might feel uncomfortable about that by his own head teacher. Like leaving a crying, bleeding kid in the playground was a more appropriate idea than her own teacher helping. It's usually the instructions that the male teachers are given in school to not have any sort of physical contact with any female students, so cases like the one you mentioned have become commonplace. If a female student gets injured and the teacher has to wait until a female teacher or other female student comes in to help, all he can do is watch and verbally comfort the student, but he cannot offer a helping hand. This is such a bad thing to have in practice. Like, what if one of the girls starts to get a seizure or is choking and needs immediate Heimlich maneuver? A very harmful environment has been created for male teachers in schools. My dad used to take me to see my uncle in Michigan when I was little. The quickest route from where we lived required cutting through Canada. My dad got detained at the border several times, while the nice lady from social services took me to the playroom they had for little kids when this happened, because he was a man crossing the border with a little girl. Never mind that he had lots of proof he was my dad, and I confirmed it, and that he had permission to have me. One time, instead of dad going to NY, where I lived with my mom, he went straight to Michigan and mom drove me to him. Nobody stopped her at the border. Those romantic comedies with the cliche beautiful and smart woman married to the dumbest duck of a guy who is lucky to have her. Swap the roles and see people flip out. At every Adam Sandler movie ever, OMG awards, thank you. When movies need an ugly guy, they hire an ugly actor. When they need an ugly girl, they hire a smoking hot actress and put glasses on her. I was at the park working out a few years ago, and on a bench was a couple arguing. The girl proceeds to slap the crap out of her boyfriend. She then goes for another, but the dude blocked her and held her wrist. The girl then burst into tears and questions why he hurt her like that. To myself, I was thinking, wait, you can hit him, but when he defends himself it's wrong? Like, WTF. I know, right? I see videos of girls hitting men and people don't care, and when the man steps in to defend himself everyone's like, whoa, now break it up. You should have said that when she was hitting him. This drunk girl walked into our house once and started attacking my roommate, like punching, throwing her boot, scratching, biting. I tried to get in between and she started on me. I wrestled her to the ground, then we shoved her out of our house. Looking back, I'm honestly really grateful she didn't try to turn it around on me when we called the cops on her. I doubt it would have really gone anywhere since she was breaking into our house, but who knows, maybe she lies and says she was a guest or something. Cigarette butts. They're not biodegradable and it's a fire hazard. We have issues with coffee cups, plastic bottles, etc. But we're totally fine with cigarette butts. If you're a smoker, make sure it only hurts you and nobody else. I just don't understand why lazy smokers feel it's okay to leave their butts on the ground, toss them out the window, and so on. They'll be within 10 feet of a trash can and still just litter. Why is this acceptable? Edit, because this blew up overnight. I apologize for being too general. I know not all smokers are like this, and thank you to the responsible smokers who are tidy. Good luck to the men who commented that they are in the process of quitting. You can do it. I think if it's still lit, even a little, it can cause a trash can fire. I heard the best thing to do is keep a little metal case in your pocket, then dispose of them all later when you're sure they're out. Child predators. Both men and women should receive the same charges. Also, when abuse happens outside the family, it is the worst thing ever. But when abuse happens inside the family, people tend to say that it was not so bad or something. It does not matter where the abuse happens. It is still abuse. People should be held more accountable for their actions. Edit. Typo. Probably a bit late and will get buried. But the one that probably affects me the most directly is that idea that if I have my kids out with me alone, I'm either some miracle from the heavens doing God's work. A stranger actually said that to me. Or hearing the is it daddy's day to babysit? Duck you Karen, I'm the stay-at-home parent and IT's not babysitting when they're my duck-ine kids. Mr. Mom came out in 1983 and I still can't get a break about it. The bar for being a good dad is super low too. Being able to dress my son and change his nappy does not make a super dad, merely a competent dad. See, this just sucks for everyone. Both mom and dad. Anything the mom does is expected and the dad gets treated like he doesn't have a right or responsibility to be a parent. Absolutely useless double standard. This is one of those sorted by controversial posts. I'm a straight male. I went to a gay bar with some gay women and their straight married women friends. One of the straight women was being basically sexually harassed by another gay woman there, to the point of being chased around the table, all the while saying she was married to a guy and she wanted nothing to do with it. The whole bar was laughing. If I did that to a woman in a regular bar, I'd get my ass kicked, thrown out, or arrested. I've lived this, but it had an extra layer of gross BC. I was an out trans man and the person targeting me thought they could rape me into a lesbian. I am not attracted to women. She wouldn't take that for an answer. The entire house party was in my face telling me I was in the wrong. They each had a different BS reason. I've never been so happy to leave a party in my life. Basically being against violence but making comments about how men will get raped in prison. It's disgusting and it's so mainstream. Every cop show makes some comment about prison rape being okay. Even shows like SVU where their entire storyline should be about protecting people. Former inmate here. I can tell. You can be the strongest of all but still be raped. Seen it right with my eyes. And let me tell you, no person in a cellmate would joke about it. Yes, it happens. Yes, they make jokes about it. When I was in therapy a couple of months ago, the therapist asks me about if I have ever been raped, and she laughs like this is some sort joke. Since then I said no to the therapy. I was put down. They tried rape me. I got stabbed 3-4 times before they left me, if not for the small piece of metal I had. Unless you are a pimp. I have always seen people joke about it. Even my father. Like he says I deserved all of it. I can't stop myself from telling how hard people make you to express. Prisons are not jokes. It is not only about dropping a soap. It gets worse. No one can get it till they see it with their eyes, and when they will I bet they could even speak a word. Edit. Sorry it turned into a rant. Please don't apologize for ranting. You have valid emotions and feelings and deserve somewhere to share them. I'm really sorry for what you experienced and what your therapist said to you. I sincerely hope you find a therapist who respects you and treats your traumas for what they are rather than a joke. Someone can treat you however they want and nobody says a word. But the minute you say anything back, you're the villain. It makes me sick. I've noticed that everyone loves to tell people to stand up for themselves. But the second someone stands up to them, all of a sudden they're offended and somehow the victim. Or when a family member is being a drama llama and everyone just lets them do what they want, and when someone finally stands up to them, they're the bad guy. They're causing drama. They know cousin Karen is insufferable. Why did they have to confront her? Clearly, it's their fault, not Karen's. I always find myself being that second person somehow, no matter how it plays out. I wonder what determines which person you come across as in life. That men can't be raped or physically mentally abused. The Ducking Josh Hartnett movie. He gets raped by his ex and has to apologize to his girlfriend for being raped. Dogs can bite us but we can't bite them either. I know you can bite a dog. Please. My inbox can only handle getting the same message so many times. Edit. Too sorry I was grumpy this morning. I love my dog and I bite her ear often and she grudgingly tolerates me. I got bit once. I'm still waiting for an apology from the damn dog. Benefiting from somebody performing a service while shitting on individuals who perform said service. Thinking of sex work and minimum wage labor. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.